The signal between worlds, the static, began on a Tuesday night, threading through Marcus's podcast recording like whispered secrets. He'd been documenting urban legends for 3 years, his modest following drawn to his methodical approach to the supernatural. But this interference was different, rhythmic, almost purposeful, weaving between his words with an intelligence that made his skin crawl. Marcus replayed the segment, adjusting his headphones until the foam pressed against his ears. There, buried beneath layers of digital noise, something resembling human speech emerged. Not quite words, but the cadence of conversation, the rise and fall of desperate communication. His finger hovered over the delete key, but curiosity, that fatal flaw of every storyteller, stayed his hand. The next recording session brought clearer manifestations. As Marcus spoke about the Riverside Cemetery's supposed hauntings, his equipment registered responses that shouldn't exist. The audio meters spiked during moments of silence, capturing frequencies that seemed to answer his questions. When he mentioned the name Eleanor Marsh, a woman who'd died in 1987, the static coalesced into something that sounded disturbingly like sobbing. Sleep became elusive. Marcus found himself returning to his makeshift studio at all hours, drawn by an compulsion he couldn't name. The dead, it seemed, had been waiting for someone to listen. Each session revealed new voices, overlapping testimonies from beyond that his equipment somehow translated into audible whispers. They spoke of unfinished business, of messages never delivered, of the crushing weight of being forgotten. The psychological toll manifested gradually. Marcus's reflection in his computer screen grew gaunt, his eyes developing the hollow quality of someone who'd seen too much. He stopped answering calls from friends, stopped leaving his apartment except for essential supplies. The living world felt increasingly distant, a pale imitation of the raw honesty he found in the voices of the dead. His podcast downloads skyrocketed as he began incorporating the supernatural audio. Listeners couldn't explain their fascination with the eerie segments, the way certain episodes left them checking locks and avoiding mirrors. Marcus told himself he was providing a service, giving voice to the voiceless, but the rationalization felt thin as tissue paper. The price revealed itself slowly, like a photograph developing in chemical baths. Each conversation with the dead left Marcus feeling drained, as if something essential had been siphoned from his core. His hair began falling out in clumps. His teeth loosened in their sockets. The mirror showed a man aging in fast forward, trading years of his life for minutes of otherworldly contact. But the voices grew stronger, more insistent. They knew his name now, called to him through the static even when his equipment was powered down. Eleanor Marsh spoke of her daughter, still alive, still grieving. A child named Timothy described the accident that claimed him, begging Marcus to tell his parents it wasn't their fault. The dead had stories, and Marcus had become their unwilling chronicler. The breaking point came during his 50th episode. As Marcus adjusted his microphone, the familiar static erupted into a cacophony of voices, dozens, then hundreds, all speaking at once. Be pressed against the boundaries of his recording equipment like prisoners against cell bars. their collective need creating a psychic pressure that made his nose bleed. Among the chaos, one voice cut through with crystalline clarity. His own voice, older and hollow, speaking from some impossible future. It warned him about the choice he was about to make, about the final price the dead would demand. But the warning came too late. Marcus had already crossed a threshold he couldn't see. The last entry in his podcast feed uploaded automatically at 3:33 a.m. Listeners reported that the episode contained only static, though some claimed to hear Marcus's voice buried deep within the white noise, calling out coordinates to a location that didn't exist on any map. His apartment was found empty, his recording equipment still running, capturing nothing but silence. The only trace of Marcus was a final audio file on his computer, 47 minutes of his own voice, speaking in languages that predated human civilization, describing places that existed only in the spaces between heartbeats. The podcast continues to update, though no one knows who maintains it. Each new episode features voices that sound increasingly familiar to longtime listeners, as if the dead are recruiting from the ranks of the living, one curious soul at a time.